There's a moment in every war when the universe goes quiet. Not because the fighting stops, but because everyone understands what comes next. That moment came for humanity on a day when the sky burned red above Earth's oceans, and the last defense satellites went dark one by one, like dying stars. The invaders didn't celebrate because they didn't need to. They had overwhelming numbers, endless fleets, and a legacy of conquest that stretched across 900 conquered systems and countless erased civilizations. Humanity had one home system, scattered colonies, and a refusal to kneel. What no one understood, not the invaders, not the frightened governments watching from distant stars, not even humanity itself, was that somewhere far beyond mapped space, something ancient had been watching in silence, something patient, something that never interfered until now. For 140 quiet cycles, humanity existed on the edge of galactic awareness. They traded fairly, shared medical breakthroughs, mined asteroids, and politely declined invitations to join military coalitions. Humans were curious but cautious, friendly yet distant. They explored deep space, argued endlessly among themselves, and focused more on survival than domination. They did not expand like empires. They did not seize inhabited worlds. They did not conquer neighbors. To many civilizations, that restraint looked like weakness. To aggressive powers, it looked like opportunity. In the galaxy, restraint is often mistaken for fear, and fear invites predators. The announcement that shattered that illusion did not happen on a battlefield. It happened in a place built to prevent war. The Council's spiral of Veyrath floated above a neutral world, an impossible structure of white stone and living alloy, so vast that its ceiling vanished into artificial clouds. Rings of seats extended outward in endless circles, filled with ambassadors from 712 recognized civilizations. At the center stood the speaker's platform, surrounded by translation fields humming softly. On that day, Ambassador Jorvain Kethrix of the Valkor Dominion approached the platform with the confidence of someone who had never been refused anything. His skin gleamed violet-black under the lights, his eyes sharp and calculating, his ceremonial armor designed to intimidate rather than inspire. Behind him walked attendants carrying sealed imperial documents. Above them all, seated at the highest ring, sat Warden Archivist Thol Maroon, ancient beyond counting, a being who remembered the rise and fall of civilizations long turned to dust. Kethrix stepped onto the platform, and the chamber fell silent. He spoke smoothly, announcing the Valkor Dominion's expansion into the Oran Reach, claiming all worlds, moons, and colonies within it. Then, almost casually, he stated that the local species would be relocated to compliant territories where they could serve useful purposes. The chamber froze. Because the Oran Reach contained a small yellow star, a blue planet, and a species most civilizations avoided provoking: humans. When Kethrix confirmed Earth by name, the reactions rippled outward. Crystalline delegates shifted to warning hues. Gelatinous beings pulsed distress signals. A furred envoy half rose from his seat, claws extended. Marin remained still, but his eyes lowered with ancient disappointment. Maroon asked Kethrix to clarify his claim. Kethrix smiled and repeated it, explaining that humans were primitive, barely regional, their strength exaggerated by myth. He claimed they would break quickly, be relocated efficiently, and stability would be restored. Maroon stood slowly, his movements deliberate. He asked one final question. Was the Valkor Dominion absolutely committed to this action? Kethrix answered without hesitation. Absolutely. Maroon nodded once, not in approval, but in acceptance, like someone witnessing a final mistake. He announced that the Council spiral would not interfere, not support, not oppose. This conflict would be between the Valkor Dominion and humanity alone. Before ending the session, Marun issued a final advisory. Any species with personnel inside Valkor territory was urged to evacuate immediately. That sentence spread through the chamber like poison. It did not sound like neutrality. It sounded like a warning meant for survivors. Deep beneath the Council spiral, in a sealed archive few knew existed, archivist Celira Vaughn stood alone among holographic shelves. She accessed a restricted file marked Earth Contact. The display revealed a peaceful blue planet, followed by ancient footage of foreign fleets arriving long ago. A confident empire, a short war, a catastrophic miscalculation. The invaders had predicted human surrender within 70 hours. Instead, humans learned. They adapted. They turned wreckage into weapons while battles were still ongoing. They lost ships and lives but refused to yield. Eventually, they won. Not through cruelty, but through endurance. 2 more empires tried later. 2 more failed. Each time, humans dismantled military structures, but spared civilians. Their enemies survived, but never ruled again. Celira quietly sent data packets to hundreds of delegates, each containing the same warning. Do not mistake human restraint for weakness. The Valkor Dominion fleet entered the Oran Reach like a moving city of steel. Capital ships, carriers, troop barges, and weapon arrays capable of cracking moons filled the void. At its center stood the Dominion flagship Radiant Edict. Dominion Emperor Vasreth Junor watched confidently as his forces advanced. He transmitted an ultimatum to Earth, demanding surrender and relocation. Earth responded calmly. Admiral Lena Cairo warned them to leave. Vasreth laughed. The Dominion opened fire. At first, humanity fought fiercely. Lunar rail cannons fired. Asteroid platforms activated. Hidden defense systems awakened from centuries of silence. Human ships swarmed larger vessels, striking weak points, sacrificing themselves to slow the advance. But the Dominion adapted. They brought reinforcements, more troops, more suppression. They shifted strategy from quick victory to prolonged pressure. One by one, human outposts fell. Mining colonies burned. Mars' defense ring shattered. Casualty reports became unbearable. Dominion landing craft entered Earth's atmosphere. Humanity was pushed back toward its cradle. Not a heroic reversal, not a sudden miracle, just relentless force. In the command center, General Thomas Red said quietly that they were not winning. Admiral Cairo did not argue. The tactical map told the truth. Red arcs closed in, gaps widened, reserves vanished, and still, human transmissions repeated the same message. We hold. On the 23rd cycle, the Dominion deployed a weapon not used in centuries, a planet breaker array designed to fracture worlds. Emperor Vasreth issued a final demand: surrender Earth or lose it. Admiral Cairo stood before the camera, bruised, exhausted, officers working frantically behind her. She said no. Then she spoke softly for her people, for Earth, for every colony lost. We hold. The Dominion began charging the array. Sensors screamed. Silence fell. Someone whispered that if it fired, everything would end. Admiral Cairo stared at Earth on the display, grief in her eyes. Then space itself tore open. Not like hyperspace. Cleaner, sharper. Ships appeared, dozens, then hundreds. Black holes swallowed light. Engines silenced nearby space. Dominion targeting systems failed. Missiles lost lock. A voice spoke across every channel. Old, calm, absolute. Prime Warden Asha Valor of the Nithran Accord. Even human officers froze. The Nithran Accord was ancient beyond myth, a civilization that did not join wars or sign treaties. They watched, they judged. Asha ordered the Valkor Dominion to stand down. Emperor Vasreth protested, calling humans minor. Asha replied that humans were not minor. They resisted. They refused to become monsters. They earned respect. The Dominion fired first. The Nithran erased ships. Capital vessels vanished without explosion. The Planet Breaker Array ceased to exist. The Radiant Edict attempted retreat and lost power instantly. Admiral Cairo watched in disbelief. Humanity was not saved by superior weapons. Humanity was saved because someone ancient had judged them worthy. Asha requested a direct channel. She told Admiral Cairo that humanity had held when surrender was easier. They refused to kneel. They refused to lose themselves. The Nithran did not interfere in lesser conflicts, Asha said, but extermination disguised as conquest would not be permitted. She ended with a declaration heard across the galaxy. Humans were not alone. The Dominion fleet was dismantled, not destroyed, disarmed, disabled. Military infrastructure across conquered systems was removed. Humanity insisted on civilian protection. The Nithran honored that request. Emperor Vasreth was taken into custody for war crimes. The Valkor Dominion survived, but as a quiet civilization of farmers, engineers, and artists. Conquerors no more. Back at the council spiral, delegates gathered again, shaken. Warden Archivist Marun addressed them calmly. The humans had been losing, he said, and still they held. A delegate asked why the Nithran intervened now. Marun answered simply, because humans resisted without surrendering morality. They earned respect from watchers older than stars. The galaxy would later tell the story wrong. They would say humans were saved because someone stronger arrived. That was not the lesson. Humans earned survival through refusal, through endurance, through courage that forced ancient civilizations to pay attention. Somewhere beyond mapped space, the Nithran returned to silence, watching again, judging again. And if another empire ever looked at Earth and thought it saw weakness, the galaxy would learn the rule once more. Humans may bleed. Humans may lose. But humans do not kneel. And the Watchers do not always remain silent.